Consists of 1 cello and then 2 violin parts. Comes right back in, kind of. I love that so much. It was important for me to know before doing anything that I would be able to have music to give to begin with. So and that's where you came in and helped me out.
I like that it
I love the little
I remember working on that.
Do you guys like my pretty handwriting? Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back if you are back, and if you are new here, welcome. Today is the 3rd episode of my mini-series of how I made my song 30, where I'm breaking down the entire process from start to finish of how I made the song. This song was made in studio, therefore a lot of the content is about the workings of how to create in a studio. This is the 3rd episode, and today we will be covering the string arrangement. We're going to be talking about some pre-production, the actual arrangement of the song, how we did it, as well as just breaking down our sonic choices and why we chose them. In this video, you're going to see the actual sheet music, you get to see the ProTools session, you get to learn a little bit about one way that you can make an arrangement. Our way of having done it was using MIDI and piano roll first, translating that to notation, and then actually getting real instrumentalists to come and play it. So a little bit of pre-production as far as working with instrumentalists is kind of talked about. So you get to see the entire scope of what one process can look like when it comes to putting strings on a song. I was helped by the most wonderful person ever, aka Ryan Finch. He's the best. You're gonna get to meet him. That's another great thing about this video. You get to meet one of the best people ever. That's my birthday twin right there too. Yeah! I'm actually sorry, that is one of my biggest flexes, that is my birthday twin. Like that. Anyways, I did my best to try and explain things in a way where anyone at any level or with any experience could understand. That's something that I try and be conscious of while making these videos, because ultimately I do want to share knowledge and information. Unfortunately, one of the cameras was out of focus, and it was the one that was focused on me. I'm okay with that. There was a lens on the camera that was not compatible with the autofocus, and I was the only one running all 3 cameras by myself. So I was not able to check whether or not I was in focus. So if you could extend a little bit of grace to me, I would really appreciate that. But other than that, everything else is intact and hopefully at very good quality. Yeah, I just had to preface that because it was driving me insane. It is what it is. Unfortunately, in this case, it is what it is. Plus, I really want to get this video out to y'all. I'm actually so excited. Nonetheless, without further ado, here is the string arrangement video. Welcome back, y'all. So today is the long-awaited string breakdown video where we're going to break down how we arrange the strings together for my song 30. If you haven't listened to it, I think it will give you a lot of context, given that that's exactly what we're talking about today. So if you want to, feel free. I am joined here today by Papa Finch, aka Ryan Finch. He is one of the most talented and bestest people in the whole wide world. He is an audio engineer, a producer, and one of the most talented musicians you could possibly ever meet. I'm really lucky to be sitting next to him, actually. He is what we call jazz fancy because he has the sauce. Welcome. Welcome to Studio B, where you work.
Yes, thank you.
We are in Studio B. This is actually where we put the strings together, which was really cool. I did want to originally record in here just so people could see the environment that we were in. Originally, I came up to Ryan and I was like, hey, I really want to put strings on a song, but I am just not as trained in music theory. Came up to him knowing that he really liked to do strings, and I was just hoping that he would be willing to help me, and he was very kind. And so then after that, I went on the mission to find actual instrumentalists once I knew I had the okay.
When you came to me with the idea of doing an arrangement on a song that was most of the way finished, I want to say, I said, yes, let's do that. Because this is something I'll do, if I ever have free time. Sometimes I'll just do it for fun. So I was pretty excited, and I was especially excited about the fact that you were planning on getting real instruments and real instrumentalists. I always start in MIDI, which is how we started together.
Right, yeah.
MIDI is a great tool for making arrangements and trying out ideas quickly. But just for my own sort of personal production taste, anytime I can get organic instruments recorded in a room with microphones, I'm gonna go kind of that extra mile. I think it always sounds better.
Right.
So I was stoked that that was kind of your plan, and totally on board.
It was so much fun, and I feel like that was like the whole point. Like I wanted that challenge. Also as a student, this was like one of my capstones for context, and to record strings was like, this was like the Mount Everest for me, like at the edge of the program, just about to finish, and I decided to give myself a very stressful task because that's who I am. But we did start on MIDI, and one thing that fascinated me while working with you is how fluid you are on that thing. You're cruising with it. You were just like, okay, let's do this here, let's make this note like a little bit longer, and it was like watching magic happen before my eyes. As far as like the process goes, we start on MIDI as well because you can hear it in real time with everything else, and so it's a lot easier from there to then translate that into sheet music. And it's also nice because when I had to hand off the music to the musicians for them to really know if they wanted to be a part of it, I could give them a sonic and a visual example to see if they really wanted to do it. It's pretty easy to get people on board when you have like the plan kind of set. And so it was important for me to know before doing anything that I would be able to have music to give to begin with. So and that's where you came in and helped me out. One thing about this song that felt like a challenge for me personally to try and approach an arrangement on its own is that change a key, and we changed like from major to minor, and that for me was gonna be too much math realistically. And so I was like, I know the person. And one thing that I will say too is that I was expecting to make the string arrangement and then to re-record vocals over it, but with the way that you approached it, it wasn't necessary at all. So
Nice.
it consists of one cello and then 2 violin parts. I started off with the cello. I was literally sitting right here with a MIDI, and I was like, okay, let me see what I hear. I came up with like the most basic cello line. Kind of had an idea of a very, very, very slight idea of what I wanted the strings to sound like. I figured that with like creating cello, it would be able to put some sort of foundation to kind of guide it in the very small direction that I had in my head. And once I kind of had that part, you came in and we kind of had more of an idea of where to go from there.
It's really nice, even if it's pretty basic, just have something, some idea, some direction to build off of. There are, there's rules, there's right notes and wrong notes, and if I have one line, I can build the rest of the lines on that in a way that makes sense.
Right.
So that was actually a great starting point. If you had said, can you write a whole string arrangement from scratch?
That's a lot of math.
That's a bigger ask, honestly. So the fact that you had something there to start from just made things so much quicker, actually.
Right.
Because we knocked out this whole arrangement in
it was so
like
fast.
a half an hour, 40 minutes.
It was really crazy. Like, I think filming this breakdown video is probably taking longer than what it was to put it together. You were just steady cruising fast, and I really loved like the approach that was had because you were like, okay, I can hear it going in this direction, and you were always so like aware of where I kind of wanted to go with it, and you were really open to that. If I didn't really feel like a note was right, you were like, okay, we have this other option. One thing that was nice is we both had an idea of the song and where it was kind of supposed to take us as like a listener and as like an emotional experience, and so it was actually very smooth for that reason. I think that having the song, like you said, almost done, kind of made it a bit more of like an intuitive process.
Definitely.
I feel.
Well, one thing I've noticed time and time again in production is that a lot of times the song tells you what to do with it.
Right.
And at least for me, it doesn't feel like I'm making a lot of decisions. it feels like I'm just listening for what needs to happen and then translating that, making it happen.
That's beautiful, and like that's how I like to see the process of creating, and so it was like wonderful. It was just nice. It didn't feel like, oh, we have to make this some like extravagant thing, or it was just like, okay, like what does the song call for? Like how can we already like, you know, just add some sparkle to what's going on, and it was genuinely really nice to work with you for that reason, because it was like, okay, cool, like this isn't anything like insane.
Yeah, well, it was really nice having your input too, because I will, and we all do this, I'll sometimes get really excited about an idea.
Yeah.
An idea that I have, and in this context for me it's usually tensions, notes that are right next to each other, that sound really tense, and then they release, and there's all this movement and stuff. But if I'm kind of left to my own devices, I'll usually do a little too much.
Right.
and you would hear those notes and just be like, maybe that's not what the song needs. And you know, my job in this context or in any context as a producer is to hear that, and instead of saying, oh, but I like my fun theory idea, say, okay, maybe it isn't what the song needs. So we like kind of worked together and got it to a place that really respected the song.
I honestly really like your approach with that stuff, because I feel like this song is kind of like I think overall, sonically, it's like a lot of people are like, yeah, it's like a smooth listen and it's very pleasant, but like a lot of the actual components within it are really like weird and slightly like off-putting in certain ways. And that's what I love in music, and I'm like, that's what brings emotion out, and that's what keeps it from just being something that stays in the background to more something that you can kind of really feel. So
yeah,
it was fun, and it was fun to figure out those chords, because that's where we were able to get creative. Like, we have the cello, we have the solid part, but then when it came to the chords, you're like, all right, this is where things get spicy.
Yes, yeah, and there are some of those tensions, some of those spicy chords made it through to the final cut. So
and it really was like very masterful how you could take my really weird vocal like different things that I was doing, and you were just able to like hear that too and still like make so much sense out. And I was really mind blown by that. Actually, I was like, yeah, I could not have been able to have done that. Okay, where was that one?
That's like right there. There's just little things that tickle my ears, like these two outside lines. The cello on the bottom goes down. The violin on top goes down. Same shape, not the same notes, but the same shape. And then in the middle, second violin is going up. Just a little contrary motion. For me, it's, you know, it's all about tension and release, and then voice leading, which we probably talked about. Each one of these separate lines could be a line by itself. Any single one of these three, you could have it by itself and it would still sound good, it would still sound melodic. And that's kind of the game. I'm not formally trained in arranging strings or horns or anything like that, but I have the theory background to kind of put the pieces together.
Right, yeah.
And so I'm always really kind of just thinking about that. Each line has to, in some sense, be its own melody, and then the real puzzle is getting all three, in this case 3, sometimes more, 4, 5, 6 parts to play together.
Right.
That was just
fun.
a cool moment. This big dropout.
And then it comes right back in, kind of. I love that so much. That's kind of like that is the first chorus, so that's where things really are building up and it's kind of really starting to feel super uncomfortable. It's in like the intro and in the verses where I wanted this, I think that's like where the major key is at, and it's a lot softer and it's a more gentler approach. And then during the choruses are where we switch key and the tension is there, and you can hear that. And that's why when we go back out from the chorus into like the next verse, it literally like glides right back in very softly, like almost like it wasn't just like yelling at you.
Yeah. And that's what strings can do. They take, you know, the dramatic emotional arc of the song and really like
1000%
drive it home.
Which I love that. Moving on from there.
It's a very, very major key kind of moment. I don't know. I love this.
Super elegant. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Oops. Hear how much I love this contrary motion thing. The cello goes down, down, down. The violin goes up, 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 up.
I love the little da.
I remember working on that.
Me too.
Because this is a cool moment because that violin goes da na, and then everything in all of our musical training is telling us, oh, it has to go da na na. That's the logical conclusion of that phrase. But instead we get nothing, and that's it's just drama. It's just set up an expectation and not fulfill that expectation. It makes people listen.
And it also sets us up for like, okay, wait, what's about to happen? Because the entire song kind of also dies down. And then we go into this crazy field over here. So we go into eighth notes, and I wanted it to feel like just, I don't know, that's the part in the song where things are really building up. One thing that I really love about kind of how the rest is I always equate my music to water. I don't know why. It just makes the most sense for me. And the song really feels like waves, like the writing, like the way things go up and then back down, up and back down. I had to use MIDI for this. I tried. I tried really hard. I will insert a video of me trying really hard.
I like that it like.
I had to get this turned in by a certain time because this was my capstone, so we did have to use MIDI for it. I honestly, if I didn't have to use MIDI, I would have had the strings be a lot more forward in the song. But I needed to have it not be so much of a contrast to the ear to where they were like, this is MIDI.
Yeah.
As far as the writing goes for that.
Same thought process, except instead of having a pad, now we have little stabs.
Right.
Little Beatles moment, little Eleanor Rigby moment.
You know, and I actually really love that song. So, and I just wanted to create a different thing because the vocals and everything seems to really like smooth out during that part and kind of quiet down. And so I was like, I really wanted to create that contrast of just having like, and I think that that's where in the cello part even I was like, okay. Because I wanted to do that. And it just felt like so much fun.
And it really works for the song because if you introduce the strings at 1 minute and just have them do long pads until 4 minutes and 15 seconds, it's not that that's bad. It would sound beautiful, but after about 1.5 minutes, you're gonna tune them out.
Yeah.
'Cause you're like, okay, I get it. Like, we're doing a string pad. Cool. So this is, you know, just about, 1.5 minutes, 1minute and 35 seconds worth of strings, just at the point where you'll be saying like, okay, cool, I like the strings, and then it breaks. And it just jump, 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 jump. So it's all just these little things that get get you to keep listening, to stay engaged.
Right, it introduces something different to the ear. And I like it too because the strings come in with minor and then major, so you're already hearing that. And then after that, it's like, all right. And then we go back, and it's like, I love this song because you never really kind of know where it's going, but at the same time, it makes sense. And that was like the fun part about it. And then we go back.
Little melody moments, generally just in the top line, in the first violin. I think that's probably what we worked on the most together.
Yeah.
It was like, when is it appropriate to have the strings make a little comment?
Right.
And when do they need to just hang back and do that?
Right.
Yeah.
That one is a bit more intense, I think, than the first time around, for sure, even just like with the dynamics of it. This little part right here, I remember you were like, your voice does that. We should have the violin do that. And like, it always feels like that's like the second time it's happened where I have an instrumentalist or someone helping me and they're like, your voice does that. That was cool. Like, let me also add that in somewhere like else. It honestly feels like an honor, like from like a vocal perspective. Your ear is constantly just going to different places. And I think that's why I like the song. It's kind of like, if you really listen to it, there's a little bit of a land that you can, you know, explore.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of my favorite things about listening to classical music is kind of the theme and variation approach to everything. So this is just a very, very small scale example of like, I heard something in your vocal and said, oh, that, like, let's highlight that. Let's bring that somewhere else. Let's put that somewhere else in the song. So yeah, you know, again, as a producer, I have this terrible habit of never listening to the words to any songs.
I know some musicians that are like the best and they all say that.
I have to really like make myself listen to the words. But part of the sort of advantage to thinking like that is I heard your voice as an instrument in this band.
Yep.
And so I'm not thinking about meaning yet. I'll think about that later, but really I'm thinking about notes, and I think that's probably what happened.
And I love that because I do look at my voice as like a full-on instrument. Like it's just as important as like what you're saying, if not more, honestly, like in my opinion. I did a whole vocal breakdown video if you want to see that. That is the last episode that I did before this one. And I really talk about that, how it was all very like intuitive, but at the same time breaking it down, there's so much intention. So I'm really grateful that you heard that and that enough to where you're like, this is part of that story. And then we get to the outro here where things are chilling out a little bit. It's just all very pleasant to the ear, and I just love that juxtaposition. That's something that I wanted to emphasize, and that's something that you really helped me make happen with it, because I was like, it's important for it to feel like it's constantly flipping. And that's what happened.
Yeah, and I think I remember, you know, maybe like the day before the string session or something, drawing in these dynamics markings.
Right.
Piano crescendoing to mezzo piano, mezzo forte, pianissimo, and then our stabs, we get into forte. That's the most powerful part. And then in that second chorus, like you mentioned, it gets pretty intense. The reason these are hand-drawn is not because it was last minute, it's because Pro Tools isn't really a score editing software. You can generate scores from your MIDI, but you can't, for example, put in dynamics markers. It's pretty limited. If you were trying to get really into this world, you'd want to get a specialized scoring software.
Do you guys like my pretty handwriting? I remember I showed you, I'm like, you know, I'm not proud of this handwriting, but you know, here we are. And you're like, no, it's fine, like as long as you understand.
Oh yeah, I mean.
That's most sheet music though, honestly.
As a
like
studio musician, I would be so thrilled to get something like this. You never know what you're gonna get.
That's actually,
as far as charts.
That's very true. I just have to thank you for, you know, not only helping me and take the time and even just doing this video with me, genuinely, but also the process was so smooth from my end as not only like a student, but somebody that was recording and like producing, as far as like in the studio with the cellist and the violinist, and like having everything just be so well prepared and professional. Like, you really kind of helped me make sure that I could be so solid in those ways, and that's why y'all can even listen to this song, because it was smooth in that way, and I wouldn't have been able to have had everything be so like linear because of that. So like, you've really helped me step into my own in a professional sense through this as well. Nice. Which I'm really appreciative of, because I have all of the wants and dreams, but to have somebody help guide that in whatever way, that whatever role, like, it was genuinely like so cool to witness and be a part of, and it made me want to show up that much stronger on my end, seeing that you were just willing to help me. So I was like, okay, I have to do a good job.
Yeah.
And like, already I wanted to, but when you work with talented people and great people at that, they just make you want to show up better. So I'm really grateful.
Yeah, I'm glad. Thank you.
This song means a lot to me, and I've had some of like the best, most like talented, amazing people and also friends like be a part of it, and it's what makes the song. It's every part of it from start to finish, which is why I made this breakdown series, is because when you're really in it and you're a part of every part of the process, you have to be so intentional. And this song is beautiful because of every step and every person that helped me make this. So, yep, but I think that's it.
Okay.
Thank you so much again.
Yeah, thank you. This was fun.
For helping me.
You can hear some stuff I've worked on, and I engineer, mix, master sometimes, and produce. Play a bunch of instruments.
Oh my gosh. Literally, actually, like, such a talented person, genuinely. Like, he is a gem, genuinely. So go check him out.
RyanFinchMusic.com. RyanFinchMusic.com.
You heard that there. Well, thank you so much for watching, guys. Everybody, Ryan Finch.